Joining me today is Tracy, winner of a Community Champion Golden Gnome Award. She's well known for her involvement with bringing the Runescape community together for charity events over the years. Next weekend, 21st, 23rd of February, is Gameblast weekend, in support of Special Effect, a UK charity who support disabled gamers and get them playing games through various physical aids. Over the weekend, the United Communities of Runescape are holding a 48-hour live stream, organised by Tracy, Danny, Vicky, and many others, all of whom have put so much time and effort in to get this all together. Despite being worked off her feet, Tracy took some time to chat to me about all things Runescape, her history at Runefest, and how the charity events came to life. Join me as I head into the mind of Tracy. Hello, Tracy. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedule at the moment. I'm sure you are non-stop.
It's a welcome break. Welcome break.
Okay, well, let's start with some RuneScape related bits and bobs.
Yes.
When did you start playing and how did you get into the game?
Oh, well, I think it's the same as anyone of my kind of age, which we will not mention. Your kids started playing RuneScape when it all first came out. It was a nice big new game for them to play. And my youngest used to make money fletching West Farrock Bank, I think it was, way back in the day. And he sort of said, I can't log off. I can't log off. You've just got to stay there. Don't touch anything and do not move. Just press this button twice. And he came back and I was off somewhere else, and he wasn't really impressed with me. It's like if I'd have lost this, that'd have been like 4 million or some stupid amount of GPs at the time. So that's about 15, 16 years ago, when you could actually make money fletching. So that's my start in the game, unfortunately. From there, it was just a case of, it was a nice game to play. It was friendly. And it was quite involving at the time as well. Everybody was really chatty. So, yeah, that's a long time ago now.
Had you
I think I've got a
played?
cape to prove it.
Had you played anything like that sort of game before? Any MMOs or?
I don't think there was anything really on the market at that point. I think we're all. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I think we was all into Neopets. if that's just really ruined my street cred really now, hasn't it? But yeah, I think Neopets was the game to play at the time. And since then, I mean, obviously we've all gone down the LOL, WoW, Perfect World sort of console, but we've all come back to RuneScape every time again. It's just a nice place to be.
So do you take many breaks or is it?
Yes, huge. Yeah. I took a huge break in the middle, purely just because life took over. My kids started going to high school and college, university, jobs got in the way, all of the usual things that, people seem to miss out on if you get too involved in games. And I think that's one of the big things these days. I mean, it's all about mental health and awareness. And, I think that's why a lot of people get a bit more involved in games to take a break. But you've just got to be careful that you need to take a break from the games as well. Yeah. So, yeah, big break in the middle. But always came back. Stayed in touch with my friends.
So what would you say your favourite part of RuneScape is?
I was quite a bit of a combat noob, to be fair. But I was always scared of getting hit by things. I hated getting hit by things because these big things would just come along and whack you, for want of a better word. You'd be sat there and your little character's all nice and pretty, and also this club gets you in the back of the head, and it wasn't very nice. And the way around that was range. I absolutely adored range. So the best part of the game, obviously, aside from the people, everybody says the people, and it is the people that's the best part of the game. But things like the fire giants at the waterfall, where you used to have the rope and the thing and go down in the waterfall, and there was all these safe spots, and everybody was so nice. You should share a safe spot, and people would go pick up your drops. And fishing at Catherby as well. I mean, obviously, you needed a bit of food. So fishing at Catherby, you'd pop down there, do a little bit of fishing, cook your food, off to fire giants. And the people were nice.
Of course. So have you managed to get any 99s in your time playing?
Yeah. on, not to sound like, on my main account type thing, but on my main account before the big break, range was obviously the first one that I got, then mage, because I thought you can't go all out on combat. Fishing, obviously, and then Slayer. I have no idea how I got Slayer. It was just a case of what can I do, to get a 99, and range was the thing, and it was like, well, you used to get a bit bored. So yeah, Slayer was the biggest one that I ever. I was so proud of the cape, so proud. It was the best thing since sliced bread. But yeah, it was. I'm more of a skill person than anything now. I can't do combat. Too many buttons.
Too many buttons. So,
Too many...
so was your break like when EOC came out?
Yes, it was. It was just, you sort of logged in one day and it was like old school. And there was all these nice little things you used to just click and run and click and run. Then, you sort of, we didn't have all the media side of it all then either. So it was a case of, we're just going to put this big update out. And there you go. It's like trying to drive a car without a lesson. It was a case of, you just look at this thing, it's like, what on earth do you do with it? So yeah, a little bit of a break from that, and I've come back, and I mean, if anybody watched any of the things I've done in the last couple of weeks, I couldn't even find a button the other night. It was like 7 people left. Okay, no, we'll just go back to fishing, shall we? Yeah, and I actually was the one person who hadn't even understood the mining and smithing update. That's really embarrassing.
And of course, they changed it again last week as well. So.
They really did. How dare they? I am so complaining about that. Just get little idiots like me getting back into the game, and then you just go and mess it all up again. Artisans workshop my foot.
So, have you got a favourite NPC? I don't know if you do. You get into your quests stuff much?
I hate quests. I hate quests. Detest, despise. There is not enough words to say quests but Romeo really has to be my favourite. He's just so amusing and honest. And everybody who's ever done, it's one of the first quests that you ever do, and it's one of those where you hate the guy, and at the end of it you just think, well, he's in a relationship he don't like. He's with somebody he don't want to be with. Of course he's going to ditch you, wouldn't anybody? No, you wouldn't, because you don't like him. It has to be Romeo. I mean, I did the quest again recently, and he just made me giggle a lot. He's just funny. Has to be Romeo. Bob the Cat and Romeo.
It's a shame you don't like the quests. I like the quests,
Well, I will admit that we've just started doing a few bits and bobs recently, and somebody has put a bet on with me that I cannot get any quest done. So yeah, that's kind of a challenge now. Somebody has challenged me.
Is that any quest or
any quests? I mean, I've still got what? It must be 10, 15 novice quests.
Surely you can do that. Do the new one that came out.
Yeah, no. I'm just going to skip that now. But we are going to do it in the name of, the cause. Gameblast. Okay. We are going to quest for Gameblast. Yeah, she says.
All right, so let's move to Runefest.
Yes.
I gather you're quite the veteran of Runefest.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we've been to them all. We've done them all. From what? The first one at Venopolis to Tobacco Dock, Billingsgate. I think that was the 2-day one, Billingsgate, Tobacco Dock after that. Then we moved to the nice little pop-up sort of, I have no idea what that was. It was just a thing. It was a little block in the middle of nowhere, which was Battersea, which everybody loved. And then obviously we moved over to Farnborough. But yeah, Venopolis was the first. Seems so long ago now.
Because that was the one where they gave everyone the refund on their tickets, right?
Yes, it was. And I have no idea why. But it was the best event of ever since. There is literally a handful of us that have been to all of the Runefest now. And I think anybody will actually say that was the best. It was a small place. It was, I mean, it's closed now as Venopolis, but it was actually a wine tasting event. sort of, I don't even know what they call it, venue, a wine tasting venue. And there was one point of the day where I all stood upstairs trying to do the penguin hunt. Yes, penguin hunt has been going for that long. And you just sort of look down and there's all these people looking up at us, with a nice little coffee bottle of wine in one hand and, the 380 quid ticket in the other, looking at all those people with feather, headdresses and capes on, thinking, really? Really? Where's have you got P yet? Have you got P? Did you find F? We're all looking at this thing, looking at these people, thinking, what are they looking at? This is normal for us. And it was just not normal at all for them poor people. The pain, I think it really was something like 300-400 quid a ticket for the wine tasting day. And, you've got 100 people trampling above your head shouting, I can't find P. But yeah, it was, it's just an amazing thing. If anybody ever says that, they're in two minds whether to do Runefest, you've got to do Runefest. It's a thing you must do. If you play the game, you go to Runefest, even if it's just once. The people, the experience, even just like the insider information. You walk up and that's J-Mod so-and-so. It's quite a nice thing. You do get to meet a lot of people. It's family. It's family now.
It was weird to me just seeing how open like the J-Mods are. They're just there, and you could just talk to these people that make the game like openly about pretty much whatever. Obviously, they're slightly limited, but it's just still that freedom to ask them anything. It's such.
They really are good people. How they cope with it is beyond me as well. They must, they're still smiling at 8 o'clock at night. Yet they've been asked the same question 5,000 times, what's your favourite part of the game? And they just sit there and smile sweetly and say, oh, well, I like doing my job. And, they must sort of get really tired. But they're just so nice. They're friendly and they get so involved as well. I think what people don't realise is that for us, Runefest is a weekend. For most people, Runefest is a weekend. For these guys, like Mod Map, Shed, the rest of the events team, they all start planning it now. They've all just taken a little bit of break for the holidays, and they better be planning it now. Seriously, if any, Matt, Shed, watching this, we want dates, Runefest dates. But it's a fantastic thing.
Because I spoke to some of them, and they were literally leaving the evening of the Saturday, so it's just a non-stop weekend. Yeah. That Saturday must be such a long day.
I think it really is for them because, we were literally coming in the door in the morning and Dave Osborne, Mod Osborne, sort of shouted over, do not leave without seeing me this afternoon. And it sort of must have, 8:30, 9 o'clock, maybe a little bit later on. And they were sort of running out the door and shouted us back and gave us obviously a few things for the auction. One of the items for the auction, which we are so chuffed to bits to get a hold of. It's so cool.
So have you got a favourite experience with a J-Mod where you've got to speak to them?
Yes and no. I remember speaking to the Gower brothers at the very first, and Mark Gerhard when he did the first speech at Venopolis. I don't think there really is a favourite. I've embarrassed myself a few times by not knowing who they are. Some of these really popular J-Mods who everybody sort of calls over, and but that goes with anybody. I'm pretty much useless. I just need a translator with me all day saying, please do not make a fool of yourself. This is a very important person. But I must admit, there's been a sort of a thing recently, and a little bit of a personal upset for me. And one of the first sort of messages I got was from one of the J-Mods, and it was just such a nice thing. I think the true favourite thing that I can say about the J-Mods is they actually care about the players. They always have a smile if you need them. They're always there for you, and they're nice. They are genuinely nice people. A lot of them along the way I've had a little bit of bad press, but it is like your favourite teacher. You get out of school, your favourite teacher was the one that used to make you work hard.
Yeah.
So I think it's just one of those where, but no, they're all just really cool people. But if I don't say Mod Matt, then he'd probably kill me. So I must say, he did make me cry several times. He's a very scary man. Very scary man. But he's absolutely adorable. And the jobs that they do are just fabulous. You know, Shed behind the scenes, people like that. And Jamie Barnes as well, Mod Barnes. They're very talented people. I don't think the J Mods actually get the credit that they deserve. They are very talented.
All right, let's move into how you started with all these charity events that you've been organising over the years. Where did it first start?
It's kind of a silly story, really. I think it must be back in sort of probably one of the first Runefests. Everybody used to arrive sort of really early. We used to get there sort of Thursday night, Friday afternoon, and it was pretty scary. You know, you'd walk up to people, it'd be like, you know, the old school discos. You know, you'd never ask anybody to dance, and that was the kind of the atmosphere that everybody can relate to it. And it was one of those where we just said, one of our friends sort of came up, and she's all chatty because she's met us all before. And what are we doing now? I don't know. We're just going to sit around the hotel and let's not. It's sunny outside. Let's go outside. So we grabbed some cookies, some water, some juice, and some bananas, and we went and sat in the park. The next year, it was a little bit bigger than that. I think it was 2015. And one of the guys came past and he just sort of sat there. He's like, "Oh, are we doing a collection? Oh, a collection for what? Well, you've brought popcorn and sweets and biscuits. And do you want some money?" Well, not really, but here's a box. We'll put it into charity. And I think the first year we raised 25 quid for Macmillan. 2015, I think, was the year we all started getting a little bit more involved with special effects as well. Obviously, 2014 was when they started putting the Gameblast together. It sort of become a little bit well known in sort of our sort of outside the game, a little bit more in the community. And 2016 was Battersea. So we were in Battersea Park. And somebody said, "Oh, I've got some bits. Shall we try and, flog them for a few quid?" Sure, why not? So in the middle of Battersea Park, there's Maud Devarin, and she's there with the biggest mouth you could ever possibly imagine. And she's just got all these different items. The locals were just sort of walking past like, what on earth's going on? And at the end of the day, we raised something like 250 quid. But I think the nice thing at that point was we realised we wanted to support special effects. The community wanted to support special effects. It was a couple of days actually before Tom Donegan, he's part of the special effect family, texted us and said, don't tell anybody. I don't want to disappoint everybody in case they don't turn up. And he sort of just popped down. It was like, we're just raising a couple of hundred quid possibly. But this guy who was very involved in the charity is actually taking the time to come and visit us. Unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. And it just sort of snowballed from there. I mean, 2017, we were back at Battersea Park. We raised about 500-600 quid that weekend, which is pretty terrifying for the likes of myself and Rach, who will walk around with it, in your pocket.
Yeah. Middle of London. Like,
it really was. It was like, it was like 7 of us off to the bank. And then, sort of 2018, we moved to Farnborough, and we went to the park, and it was glorious sunshine, and about 200 people turned up. And I think we raised, we used PayPal, much safer. You can't rob PayPal very often. And I think we raised about £1,000 that weekend. And then there was such a big thing about the charity. I mean, obviously we've done Gameblast, we've done the Runefest, which obviously now we've coined Noonfest. And last year it just got huge. 2019 really was our year. It's not just me anymore. There's Danny Mack, there is Vicky, there's Jack, there's a whole host of key people. Jonathan, who's a double Golden Gnome winner now, Wiz Anthony, who you obviously know.
Yeah,
we've got such a big sort of family now So, I sort of come up with the stupid ideas like last year, and we just knew that it was going to be a big event, and we knew it was going to rain. It was just one of those things. It's like everybody's really expecting a nice event. Now it's going to rain. We can't go outside because it's going to rain. Luckily, a lovely little working man's club gave us the room for free, as long as we tidied up. The Westie in Farnborough, fabulous place, little plug there. And they said, as long as you clean up after yourselves, and they gave us drinks, they gave us a few crisps, but the likes of Jonathan, Anthony, Danny, they all put literally their heart and soul into that. So we're just waiting for 2020 now. We are holding out for the biggest event yet, Noonfest. We have our little logo, we have Monty, we have pins, and especially with the likes of Presley as well. Willoway, obviously, she's a huge supporter. She puts a lot of work into the badges and things for us. And, the whole community just gets behind it. So it's not something we can get away from now. You come up to Gameblast and you're getting little messages from people, sorry, I can't, take place this year, but next year is all me. And we're not going to get away from it. It's just huge. So that's how we got involved. Some nice man gave us a little bit of time and actually made us feel like we were supporting the right people. Yeah. And it was nice. I mean, I think at the last count, we've raised over £30,000 for them. And that's just the RuneScape community. This year, we've brought on board an even bigger part of the community, the Twitch people.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking of the Twitch people, what is the plan for this upcoming Gameblast weekend?
I'm going to sleep. Do we need to...
Right, okay.
No, seriously. No, seriously, I'm just going to sleep through it. We came up with the idea last year that we were going to do a RuneScape-based Gameblast weekend. Because obviously RuneScape have always been a big part of the Gameblast weekend, but unfortunately events took over last year and they just couldn't, nothing, it was just one of those things. It was just really bad timing for the company and Gameblast. So we sort of said, well, RuneScape, old school, needs a footprint on the whole weekend. And in our infinite wisdom, organise something. Now, that was mostly down to me saying, yeah, we can do 48 hours, like an idiot. But we did it. But that was down to Danny and Vicky with their excellent scheduling. They're really good people, persons, and artists as well. I've got to give them the credit for that, because I can't even... My stickmen look like they need help. Pretty much useless. Everybody's like, oh, all these people are so talented. No, I'm just the person who says, let's come up with this stupid idea. And then they put it all into place. But no, right, okay, we're going to read from paper now. This is really unprofessional. But Gameblast weekend begins on the 21st of February. That's the official Gameblast weekend. Special effects hold that a particular weekend every year, and this year it falls on the 21st and runs right through to the 23rd. It raises funds for special effects, who in turn put those funds forward to helping people of all abilities to play games that we take for granted through eye control, body control, various different things. I mean, honestly, if anybody gets a chance to check out the website, please do. It's a fantastic thing. There's some videos knocking about that just make you cry, so just be warned. So we sort of threw it out there last year as the United Communities of RuneScape, and we put into that the RS3 and the old school. This year is the United Communities of RuneScape and Friends, because we now have, let's have a look at the last count, piece of paper, around 30 people involved. We're streaming across 48 hours. Quickly running down a list of people, we start at lunchtime, which is 12 noon on the 21st, with Svelta Luna, and then we have 2-hour schedules. Everyone can stream for as long as they like, but because we want to give everybody an equal chance, we've put everybody into little 2-hour slots. Nothing like putting people in boxes, is it? So we have Svelta Luna, Juxto G, Grommiart. Obviously, we all know who Grommiart is. And then we've got some new players like Agito Plum, Wazzy, Nilmar. Moving on to the 22nd, we again go for midnight. So you've got Tonics, the OSRS guy, not to be confused with obviously his twin, Eldrick Knight RS, we've got King Watts, Useless Rock. Now, he does go by another name with an ROK and a gold crown. The Fletch, she's one of the craziest people I have the pleasure to meet. Protox RS, Ilmondo, they're streaming at lunchtime on the 22nd. Scardy Ginge, we all know that wonderful lady. RS Guy and Cash Stack are going to do a sort of very long 10-12 hour challenge between them. That could be hilarious. And then we've got the likes of Shawnee, who's coming on board. He's also doing an interview during the day as well, so that's one to catch. Diary LRS, he's one of our founders. Now, he's going to be streaming at 10 o'clock, so 2200 hours on the Saturday, and that's going to be a huge thing. I think there's about 7 people involved in that stream.
Okay.
They're usually drunk. Obviously, we don't promote drinking. They're usually drunk, but it's going to be hilarious. And then midnight on the 23rd, Chicken Muffins. We've got Brandon RS. He's one of our newer people. Regicidal, who we obviously know as Modley, ex-Modley. Jammer, Secure Pay. And then 8 o'clock in the morning on the Sunday morning, after a heavy night on the beer, I'm quite assuming, we have Get Mic'd. Now, if anybody is going to join into anything, it's got to be him, because we've bet him to do the can. He's going to do Just Dance for Gameblast. And then we're finishing off with Sven. Now, Sven is the loudest, most enthusiastic, sober person you will actually meet. Now, the other nice thing about that is everybody's got their own Just Giving pages set up, so people can donate. There'll be challenges, there'll be giveaways. We've got all sorts of things going on. But the actual nice thing that's happened this evening, and we've just found out about, is I think there's about 7 of our crew that have all hit the front page on Twitch over the weekend. So they've all got front page slots. They're all terrified. It's fabulous. It's just one of those things that sort of landed, that Special Effect gave us the opportunity to put people forward to sort of say, well, can we go on a front page? And yeah, they're all sat there now thinking they're having their eyebrows done and, putting a little bit of extra lipstick on for the thousands of viewers that could potentially head their way.
Yes, that is quite the pressure. Spotlight. Yeah.
Quite the spotlight. But yeah, it's going to be 48 hours of fun. I mean, obviously, there's going to be people starting it off. There's going to be people finishing. We've got some big names. We've got the RS guy. He's just, and I'm surprised that he actually got involved, because I didn't know who he was when I met him. That was pretty much embarrassing. And yeah, he still came forward for the cause. Yeah, so no, pretty embarrassing. The things like the auctions, we have a couple of really nice items. Like I say, the whole community gets involved with this. So we have stuff from Jagex, we have stuff from content creators. So this year we've actually got the jacket and the pouch from the archaeology trailer, the one that Mod Osborne wore, with the whole Indiana Jones parody thing going on. He actually handed that over to us at Runefest. So that was like, it was like getting a million quid's worth of bearer bonds. It was smuggled out of the building under cloak and dagger. We've got some T-shirts, we've got some hoodies, which are all, staff issue. It's donated to us by the staff. And we've got jewellery. I didn't say that wrong. It's actually the brand, by Hollery. Now, if anybody follows the whole Instagram, Facebook, Twitter thing, she's a very, very talented artist in her own right. She's a tattooist, and she's now moved over to the jewellery section as well. And we've got a couple of Runefest items. I think we've got a couple of codes, a couple of bags, and there's a few art commissions in there as well. So anybody can get involved. There's stuff for Twitch, there's stuff for your Facebook pages, your buttons, subs, all sorts of weird and wonderful things. There's pretty much something for everybody. Obviously, on the eBay site, we've got the badges for sale, the key fobs for sale, straight across the board. Ranging from I think there's 95 pence. Yeah. And all the money goes to Special Effect, right up to however much we can flog things for.
So when are all the items going to be live on the?
All of the items will be going live sort of from the 18th to the 20th. Okay. We don't want to run them for too long, because people get really bored. and forget about them.
Yeah.
And then obviously I have to harass people with tweets and it gets all really boring and people just get fed up. So we're going to do really short, sharp shocks. A lot of the things as well are going to be free postage and packing. So we're going to try and put that one on board. Wiz Anthony as well is throwing sort of messages at me right now. Don't forget we have some unique items coming up as well. So obviously things like cushions come up all the time. They're always a really good thing. I mean, he makes such unique cushions.
Yeah.
Takes on commissions as well. So, and a couple of nice things that we'll leave for you to release nearer the time for the auction that we want to keep surprise. Some cool stuff.
Yeah,
Some really cool
I
stuff.
will make sure there is a link 'cause it's all going to go on your eBay page. Will it be?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, people are a little bit, thinking about the eBay page. It's been running for 4 years. We've never had an issue with it. Jagex are more than happy to help us promote it. All of the money goes straight to the charities. It all goes straight through the system. It's a unique way of doing it. There's not many places that Jagex have sort of given us free rein with it. They will help promote the system. The system works. And of course, it's, less paperwork for them. Nobody likes paperwork. Give it to someone else, do. Yeah, she's fine. Let her go on with it.
So are you getting involved yourself? Are you going to do any streaming over Gameblast, or are you just going to
Um,
relax and?
I told you I'm sleeping it off.
Yeah.
Just wake me up when it's over. We'll count the money up, and that's it. No, I'm obviously you've got three big sort of the people who have organised this, which is myself, Danny, and Vicky. We've got Jagex Porky on board as well. And I think out of sort of the 6 people who have been, instrumental in putting all this together, I think 4 of us on holiday that weekend. We really pick our days, don't we? But no, we will all be on board. Danny is streaming with Dariel and Vicky, so they're all going to do one part. I'll be on board as well, streaming from wherever I am.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to pop into a couple of game stores as well, because they're big supporters. Not an advert there. They're big supporters of special effects as well, and I'm actually an official ambassador for special effects. So last year we sort of popped around a few places, threw in the Gameblast name, special effect name, did a little bit of posing for the cameras, and so no, we will be working on it. We will be working on it. I promise. We will be streaming. I'll probably throw a little bit of Fallout 4 in there because unfortunately this kit's a little bit big to carry around, but probably stream a little bit of Fallout. So if anybody likes Fallout and me making a complete idiot of myself, usually falling off tall buildings and dying a proper Lara-style death, it will be involved.
All right. Well, obviously you probably you're thinking in the future, but
Yes.
your main focus is Gameblast. But have you got anything that you can say about what's coming up past Gameblast, or?
Yes. Noonfest. Noonfest has just taken on this complete entity of its own now. Like we said before, how we started with the charities was the afternoon before Runefest. And it was just sort of a get together. We'd just pick a place, people would turn up, and it was a thing. Noonfest last year was quite a unique opportunity because it's not only about everybody getting together and doing a little bit. We had official auctions, we had people-made auctions, but we also gave people a platform to sell their own goods as well. We had Wiz Anthony selling capes and cushions and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. We had Jonathan, double Golden Gnome winner, selling cosplay items, weapons and all sorts of things. And then we had things made by Legend Arts. I mean, he's been awesome. Legend Arts, Suaz, Presley, Willoway, all the rest of the people. And it really worked. People turned up, we sat down, we played silly games. We had a buzzer game that was, all handmade. We had the Hooker Monty. I mean, obviously Monty is he's our little logo now, our little ducky duck. So yeah, next year we hope to do something big, something fun. We want to keep supporting the charity. If people, want to get involved, everybody needs a platform. And this is the sort of the reason behind, people think that somebody just runs away with an idea, but it's not. Often it's just somebody who says, well, I'd really like to do this, but I don't know how. Yet you can get 4 or 5 people together who can say, well, we can put that idea together. And that's how our charity sort of has rolled into a bigger thing of its own. It sort of just turned into its own entity. And, you know, people like Danny, Vicky, people person, you know, the graphic designer, the people who put it all together. That's how we want to go forward with it, as well as giving people, you know, the platform to, well, I can make this and I'd like to do that. You know, it's little things. It's people crafting. That's what the community is. So yeah, we're going to run it forward. We're going to harass everybody for dates. We're going to put, you know, something together. And as soon as we know anything, we'll certainly throw it forward. I mean, £5,000 last year, just over one weekend. I'm sure we can better that again.
But how much?
We'll just go for it again.
Because how much was made on the last Gameblast weekend?
The last Gameblast weekend was £12,000. So yeah, but we had the likes of Foe involved. We had Nightinator. We had some, you know, pretty core people in there. This year, everybody has their own commitments. You know, they're committed to a lot of time last year. The people this year have not only committed to one, you know, slot, they've been working on this for the last couple of weeks. They're absolutely sick to death of hearing from me. They're seriously, I'm surprised they haven't blocked me on every social media platform there is. It's just like, for crying out loud, another email from her. Really? Do we need this? But they've really put the heart and soul into it. You know, people who sort of, even outside the RuneScape community, you know, you've got the variety streamers like Juxta. You know, she's absolutely fantastic. And she was one of the first people to come online as well. You know, she was like, well, I'll definitely get involved. And then get Mike, he's another variety streamer. So it's not all RuneScape. You know, we've got something right across the board for everybody. We want to run, you know, this all started off as RuneScape. It started off as Runefest. But now we want to try and roll it out. It is one community. We all play games, you know, whether you play it on a PC or, you know, the master race type thing going on, platforms. It's just, you know, we want to raise awareness for the charities as well. You know, they're all sat there, you know, playing away on the games. There's people who we're raising money for who can actually play these games because of this now. So it's a nice thing. Everybody just gets so involved. Everybody really wants to be in it. You never have to ask anybody twice. That's the good thing about it. But yes, we just want to make this a community charity. You know, everybody really wants to get involved. And that's a nice thing. You know, I always joke about it, you know, get them drunk and ask them a few questions, get them to sign a piece of paper. That's it, your life's over. But no, it's not like that. It really isn't. You know, everybody really wants to get on board.
All right. Well, thank you very much for everything that you've done for the charities and everything over the years. I've covered everything I had to cover, but so I don't know if you've got any shout outs you would like to make.
Obviously, the biggest shout out is to the whole community, you know, especially Danny, Anthony, Jonathan, Chris, Clue, who's Jack, for one of better, Vicky, the Jagex staff, and then obviously everyone who just sort of tweets, Facebooks, Instagram, even the platform that we don't even speak of anymore. You know, it was such a big thing last year and nobody uses it this one. But it's just everyone who really gets involved. Jagex are brilliant. You know, they sort of keep sneaking a few things our way. And obviously the people at Special Effect. You know, this is our big weekend now. Becky and Tom at Special Effects and all of their guys as well. You know, they really get mixed in with our community. It's quite nice. You know, they attend the same events that we do. But no, I think, you know, just people just carry on the way that they're going. It's just such a nice place to be. You know, we've all sort of thrown ourselves into the hat this time. And but I must admit, it's for the love of it sometimes, because it's a bit tiring. It's very the part, you know, you've just got to really swing with it sometimes. But no, and obviously, you know, people like Ben and Jack who've also put up with me a lot recently. You know, trying to get the streams up and running to try and, you know, I shouldn't really ask people to do something I'm not prepared to do myself. And I've never really understood streaming, and now I know why, because it's so difficult. Absolute kudos to any of these people that do this streaming like, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But no, it's just a pleasure to be a part of the community. and obviously to get involved in things like this as well. So thanks to you for...
No. The thanks all go to you.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
So I hope everybody next weekend is going to be tuning in to the Gameblast stuff. I'll make sure to put all sorts of links in the description to the eBay page.
Hashtag Gameblast.
Oh yes, of course.
Hashtag Gameblast. That's all you need to know. Hashtag Gameblast. Hashtag Gameblast.